And Peter, thank you so much. You've been working on this play a long time. I know it's become quite a project for you. Why is it so important to you to imagine what these men might say to each other today?
Well, because I regard the three of them as three of the major people who helped to bring us to where we are now. And I really wanted to compel the audience to look upon them not just as some kind of otherworldly, legends, almost godlike people, but as human beings, serious black men. I wanted people to think about them as fathers. I don't think most people, when they think of the three of them, that they think of them, they left 13 children behind. And those children have paid a price for what their fathers did. We never think about that. We don't think about ourselves, the last thing I have them ask. I personally don't feel as though we as black people in this country have proven worthy as a people of the sacrifices made by those brothers and the other people. We have not proven worthy. Some of the things that we're doing, we say we can't stop this. We're waiting for someone else to teach our children history. The public schools are not going to teach black history, period. The Catholics had to start Catholic schools. They didn't want to raise good Americans. They wanted to raise good American Catholics. So in order to do so, they had to set up the parochial school system because they knew that the public schools were not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So we want our children to know the history that we're talking about. We've got to do it. We don't have to maybe set up a whole new school system, but we have churches, we have community centers, we have all kinds of people who are supposed to be educated. We got to find a way to make our children aware of this history that they've been talking about up here. We must do it.
I want to give.
And if the system doesn't do it, then we got to do it. And I think that until we start doing those things, we got to stop young brothers from killing each other. We got to stop it. The state's not going to do it. The government's not going to do it. The black community has got to be the one that put a stop to this. And if we cannot do that, then as far as I'm concerned, we have not proven worthy of the sacrifices made by these three brothers and others in the movement.
Well, Peter, I just want to thank you for your play and ask our panel if you have any questions for Peter Bailey about his play or reactions to his play.
I reacted to what he just said, but I've done a lot of talking. Brenda was going to say something.
I think the play is brilliant because what it shows is that we've got these three leaders, and it humanizes them, and you're also finding them having this sort of existential, posthumous conversation, And I think one of the biggest things that they were talking about was black humanity. And it really took me back to what Brian was alluding to earlier, this whole gun control that we're talking about now, and the lesson and the tragedy of Sandy Hook versus so many black boys and girls being killed in Chicago and all across the United States, but the outrage is only for Sandy Hook, is that even in the 1960s, one of the things that Dr. King realized and that Medgar Evers and Malcolm X realized was that in our democracy, black life was cheap. White life was worth more in our democracy than black life, and that's a tragedy, okay? And when we think about this play, it really brings us back to the core of what civil rights, black power, the freedom struggle was about, was trying to elevate black humanity to an equal playing field so that if civil rights workers who were black were killed in Mississippi in '64, that LBJ would send in the FBI at the same rate that when white volunteers were killed. That wasn't the case in 1963, '64, and unfortunately, as we've seen with Sandy Hook, that's not the case now.